Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would have been shocked by that joke, apart from I've heard it 5 times before. Will, the man who hangs around in lavatories. So, we're going to have a quick run through. I've only got 150 slides, so I want you guys to keep up. And if you put your hand up, I won't think you're asking me a question, because no one talks while I'm talking. It just doesn't happen. We're going to run through the changing face of the event industry, and before we do that, me, George P. Johnson, follow me on Twitter at KevinLFJ. Do that now. You can use your phones. And George P. Johnson, as Will said, is a global company. We do about 6,800 events a year. We're going to turn over about $1.5 billion this year. 29 countries, 1,500 people, all that. And we were voted Advertising Age's Event Agency of the Year the last 4 years. That's enough about them. This is all about me. So who the heck are you? Hashtag, who the heck are you? Apart from a Simpsons character. I'm not this guy. Actually, where's the camera guy? He looks a bit like that. Where's he gone? Oh, he's gone. Oh, yeah. I'm not this guy. Does anybody know this guy? Good boy. Seth Godin writes a daily blog. Genius. Follow him. Seth, S-E-T-H, G-O-D-I-N. Writes a daily blog about marketing, events. He's written 14, 15 books. He is absolutely worth listening to. But I am this guy. I was voted the most influential person in the event industry. Don't believe it was just a popularity contest. I know, but someone's popular. And I was told yesterday it was just a horrendous Twitter campaign, but if it's a competition, you want to win, right? But I think that one of the reasons I was voted that is because I do speak at a lot of events, and I do talk about the future of the event industry, and I think it is important for us all to understand from a similar place where we're going, why the thing that we're doing is so important, and what's interesting about the future for us, and what's dynamic about that future. So I'm going to run through that. I'm going to hair through that very, very quickly, because Andy, Chris, and Gareth are going to be speaking, and they're massively interesting. My blog, Depth Perception. I'm blind in one eye, as I was telling somebody just earlier. I'm blind in one eye, very, very bad eyesight in the other eye. So if I don't recognise you, I'm not being rude. I just can't see you. But it has enabled me to do lots of things, to look at subjects. I've got no depth perception, which is why the blog's funny. But it enables me to look at things to see if they're as close as they seem or further away than they thought. And that's what I've been doing for the last 10 or 12 years, especially in the event space. And I think it's an interesting time for us in the event space. And as it says in this quote, which is often misquoted, it's not survival of the fittest. It's survival of the ones who adapt the quickest. And that's what we do in the event space better than most. And I think if you look at where advertising's been and where advertising's going, you can understand why events are so important. And if you look at where we are now in the brand space, a brand is a set of promises. It's a set of promises you make to your consumers, to your customers, to your clients. That's what it is. And the way you behave is how you deliver on those promises. So it's your behavior, not your marketing, that decides what people believe about your brand. Man is defined by his action, as Jean-Paul Sartre said, and I said, so are brands. Yeah, that was me. I just said it. I always wanted to be on a slide with Jean-Paul. Now we're there. There's a whole mythology, iconography around doing rather than saying. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Put your money where your mouth is. You're only as good as your promises. Actions speak louder than words. Don't say you love me, show me you love me, especially tomorrow. It's about doing, not saying. You can make any promise you want, any promise in your advertising, but it's what you do as a brand that determines what people think of you. And for me, the experience is the marketing. And this thing we do, and it doesn't matter what you call it, event, we call it experience marketing, people call it brand experience, but it's the experience that is the marketing. It's the experience of the brand that decides what people think about you. We've gone from this side on the left to, no, yeah, you're on the left. This side on the left to that side on the right. It used to be about conspicuous consumption. We know that's not true anymore. We have to look as if we're suffering. Conspicuous frugality. It used to be about info overload. There was so much information out there, you didn't know where to look. In fact, people were there to navigate you through that. But now it's info on demand. We can take whatever we want through Sky Plus, through iPlayer, through 4OD. We can take all those programs whenever and wherever we want. We used to trust in institutions, and I'm talking about the bankers. Who trusts banks anymore? Hands up? No? Governments. We used to think they knew better than us. Now we don't. We trust in our social network, and that's not social networking, that's the people we know. So that's word of mouth, peer-to-peer recommendation. Those are the people we trust, and funnily enough, social networking has grown up to support that. We can now understand what people are thinking and doing in our community, and look how big our communities are getting. You know, we don't believe brand messages anymore. We don't believe advertisers who are saying, spending 20, 30, 40 million dollars on a campaign. We'd rather believe somebody who's left a thing on Amazon, who's bought the toaster that we're looking at in Texas, has left a bad review. We trust our social network, and that's what this is all about. It used to be about brand pushers, now it's about brand advocates. We used to think unemployment was coming around again, now we know it's with us all the time. It used to be about ceding control. We gave up control to people we thought knew better. Now we've taken control. We can change things now. So in the communication sphere, again, it used to be about pushing information out there. Let's make an ad, let's broadcast it, let's try and get people to watch it. That's not the way things are done anymore. Consumers decide what they're going to pull from brands. It used to be about quantity, now it's about quality. Less is more. It used to be about my media, now it's about creating experiences, and that's what's changed. We all love experiences. Brands used to demand attention. It's Seth Godin's book, Permission Marketing. Brands would always interrupt you. Me, look at me, look at my ad, here it is, look at us. They don't do that anymore. You've got choice. Now, they're offering attention. There's a way through social media of interacting with brands. And that's where the power has been ceded to us. They used to talk, now they listen. And actually, it used to be about awareness, and now it's about engagement, and it's about experiences, and it's about relationships. And like any relationships in the real world, our own relationships, they're multi-leveled, they're multifaceted. They're not just the friend on the phone that rings you when it wants to sleep on your sofa or take money from you, which is what advertising does. But what brand experience does, what events do, is it's a real relationship. It's got depth, it's got meaning. Because as people, we haven't changed. We still want to be great fathers, great mothers, great brothers, great sisters, great husbands, great wives. We want to be part of something. We want to know where we fit in. We want to know our community. We want to be immersed. We want to be entertained. And that's what we do in the event space. Those deep human needs and emotions, that's what we do in the event space. And that's why events are the fastest growing marketing discipline, apart from social, but we'll come back to that. So the experience is the marketing. That's what people believe. They believe the experience. 90% of people who value brands or judge brands look at the experience they have. It's the call centers, the way they answer the phone. It's retail, it's the shops, it's the restaurants, it's the website, it's the interaction, it's the event space. When the brand comes out from behind its office and interacts with its consumers, that's what people believe. 10% listen to the marketing messages. It's not what you say, it's what you do. It's not the promises you make, it's the actions you take. And this is what people believe. This was an internet sensation. It's the experience. It's not the marketing messages. So you're all intelligent people, left brain, right brain? Yep, know that, logic, creative, all that stuff, yep. Hello? Yes? Yeah, you can say that. Why do experiences work? This is just a slice. I know Chris has got a tricky question on brain, but I only know the bit I know, so. Experiences work because they feed straight into the amygdala. Reptile brain. It's got no words. It can't think. It feels emotions. That's where experience plugs straight into. So all of that, is this true, is this not true? Experiences, good or bad, feed straight into the amygdala, which is emotion driven. That's why you never forget an experience you have, ever, 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 ever. Even if it's not right at the front, it's there at the back. It's conditioning your behavior through experience. That's why what we do is so vital. All the bits of the event industry, that's why it's important. That's why it works. That's why people become euphoric. That's why whenever you're listening to your favourite band at the O2, so Andy's got The Clash, Gareth's got ABBA, Chris has got Def Leppard. I'm more of a Wiley man myself. Skepta. It doesn't matter who you're listening to. You think they're singing directly to you. You think they're singing directly. That's why people get confused with stalkers. You really think they're singing directly to you. You think it's a personal... It doesn't matter there's 20,000 others there. Because that's not what an experience is. An experience is happening in your head to you personally. It's filtered through your own experience, and it fits straight into your reptile brain. That's why it's so powerful. That's why sales conferences, all the salesmen, they love it. They get in the bar, they have a drink, they do the thing, and actually it works. It brings the team together. It's all emotional. Rally around the flag. The company's behind you. That's why it works. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you've got an emotional context to it, it feeds straight into that. That's why you never forget, and that's why what we do is so important, because it drives this. It drives word of mouth. It drives conversations. People are talking about brands all of the time. 60 times a week, according to my very accurate statistics. 60 times a week, people are talking about brands, and they need something to talk about. It's the experiences they talk about. And we already know that word of mouth is the most powerful form of communication. It's always been. Even when advertising was great, it was always driving word of mouth. Now there's another way of driving word of mouth. It's through events, and it's extended through social and digital. So the experience is the marketing. There is nothing else. And as my old friend Jeff said, if you create a great experience, people will talk about it. And that is so powerful. That's the Amazon way. Word of mouth also means reviews, customer reviews, peer-to-peer. What do you think of this book? Here's the book you like. Here's another book. Jim liked this book. Did you like this book? It's word of mouth. People like you are telling you you're going to enjoy the book. That's why it works. It's all driven by word of mouth. So people who go through an experience, 70% buy more. 66% change the way they feel about a brand. 82% become more engaged. They've got a relationship. It's got multi-levels to it. It's not just one-way communication. It's a relationship. Brands are things. Brands are verbs. It's a doing word. 85%, huge number, 85% tell others about it. That's what we're trying to create. Word of mouth. It's driving sales. It's driving connections. It's driving brand metrics. And talking about metrics, and this is the bit I'm coming to the end now. You know, we've got a proprietary system, which is this 4D process: discover, define, design, deliver. That's how we look at and do the work that we do. But actually, the bit that I wanted to share with you is this bit, and you can make up your own answer to that. So we ask, before we go into any piece of work we're doing, answering any brief, we ask these 4 questions. What do we want the audience to feel? What do we want the audience to think? What do we want the audience to know? And what do we want the audience to do? Feel, think, know, do. And you can make up your own words, because these are ours. But feel, emotional. What do we want them to feel? We've got to have that emotional connection. Think, what do we want them to know factually? What do we want them to know? And then what do we want them to do? Do is our objectives. If you've got do, we want them to go to the website. We want them to tell others. We want them to buy the product. We want them to go to the shop. Whatever those do things are, you've got something to measure. And where we're all going as an industry is where advertising's been for the last 15, 20 years, measurement. Measurement, 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 please. Whatever you can measure, please measure. Not how hot the coffee was, not how great the lights were, but things about the audience. What did they think? What are they going to do as a result? We've got a set of objectives. We're going to measure that. We're going to track them. We're going to ask them where they're going, because that's what we need to do. You know, if you look at what's happened over the last 8, 10 years through the recession, budgets were cut because we, as an industry, couldn't justify what we were doing. Some of the jobs got cancelled because we couldn't say we were making an impact for that company. We weren't adding value. So that 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 5 million, whatever the number was, what has it done for our brand? What has it done for our audience? If we can't measure it and justify what we're doing, we should be ashamed of ourselves. If we can't prove that we're adding value, we shouldn't be in the room. We shouldn't. You should smack yourself on the wrist. That's what Will does. We should be. Measurement, measurement, measurement. It's the key to our future. It's what advertising's been doing for 15, 20 years, and we need to do it. We need to be grown up about it. And we need to keep asking the question of the client. So, I've used this quote for, I don't know, a long time. 5 years maybe, because I thought it was clever. If you don't like change, you're in the wrong business, whatever business you're in. Tom Peters, love him, seen him talk a load of times. He's a clever, grumpy old guy. But, amazing quote. And I didn't really think about it because it's just a thing to finish a presentation with. And actually, for this presentation, it's entirely appropriate. Because if you look at technology and the way technology is changing our lives, so that tree, top left, has 4,200 followers on Twitter. Anybody got 4,200 followers in it? Apart from you, Will. Your toilet blog got, what, 2,000? Yeah?
First hour.
First hour, amazing. A lot of people hang around in toilets that read your stuff. A Twitter account on a tree. The cow, the chip in the cow's ear, it's so that the cow can let you know when it wants to be milked. So you don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever farmers used to do. You know when the cow wants to be milked because it's going to tell you. We know about Nike Plus, the chip in the shoe that talks to your iPod, that tells you to run faster and plays your inspirational music, and then downloads the run you've done against the run you did last week and the run you're going to do next week and all your friends. Amazing. The inhaler for asthma sufferers, connected to the Weather Channel, tells you when is good and when not good to go out. The chip in your stomach. What's good to eat? What have you eaten? What should you be eating? Amazing stuff. And it's here now. All these things are here now. Talk about change. And if we talk about the event industry, in a recent survey, event professionals were asked about technology, and 66% of them said it was fundamental to their event. 18% of them incorporate technology at the planning stage. And that's only going to get more. I would imagine next year it's going to be 98%. It's getting faster and faster, and everyone knows technology is the thing that we should be thinking about. Because it is. What are they using? Twitter, apps. Bit of a shocker, the numbers on the apps. But Twitter, Amplify, Connect, the whatever we've got here, 150 people in the room, connected through your Twitter accounts to the 5, 10, 20,000 outside the room, sharing messages, live streaming, amplifying the message, extending the reach of the campaign. That's why we're getting to where we're getting with advertising. You know, it doesn't matter we do an event called Cisco Live. Oh, I better not. Yeah, Gareth's going to take you through a case history on Cisco Live. But it's connecting people in the room with a massive community out of the room. It divides down the cost per contact of your event into tiny, tiny numbers. Apps. You can't think about your event as just a one date in the diary. It's got to be a campaign. It's how you build a community. It's how you build interest. You know, if you're running an advertising campaign, you don't just buy one slot in the middle section of News at 10, which is one of the most watched programs, or in Coronation Street, the most watched program. You buy a media plan because you know your audience isn't looking at you or listening to you all the time, because they don't. They're not going to make an appointment to see your ad. It's a campaign for us in the event industry. App, communication, coming to the event, at the event, after the event. Here it comes, here it comes. This is what you need to be thinking about. Here it is. There it was. Wasn't it amazing? Here's content. Here's creativity. What stops people using technology? 58%, because they don't know about it. They don't understand it. 92% the money. And that is the bit that's changing. As Chris was saying, now the DJ mixing desk that he used to have is now an app on his phone that was 59p. It's amazing. But that's coming down in every place in technology. That's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.